Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the relatively common rock-type Pokemon Rockruff, the Puppy Pokémon, and its relatively rare evolution Lycanroc, the Wolf Pokémon. While they might not always look to be the most imposing of beasts at first glance, the members of the Rockruff family are powerful canines that can more than provide enough variety to make themselves worth taking notice of in any fight.
Rockruff have light brown body hair, with darker fur around their three-toed feet, the tips of their ears and their mouth area, the pink nose and blue eyes standing out strongly. They have a large whitish-brown tail and a collar of fur around their neck of the same color, with blackish-brown stones embedded around said collar. Their evolved form, Lycanroc, have three different forms to them. Their midday form looks to be a natural progression and evolution, with light brown fur and white fur around their lower legs, tail, neck, and face and eye area, with three sharp black claws in each of their feet. Their overall posture and quadrupedal nature matches that of a standard wolf, and is usually the one most think of when they imagine these creatures. Their midnight form, on the other hand, has the same color scheme of white hair on their body, but the rest of their form is covered with crimson red fur, and their eyes have changed to reflect this. This variation looks more like a werewolf, with their bipedal stance, and have black fur around their midsection and the top of the upper mane of hair. Lastly, their Dusk Form variant has the same basic form as their Midday variant, with orange fur instead of brown, and they have a series of black fur spines around their neck area. This gives them an appearance blended between their Midday and Midnight forms, and takes attributes from them combat-wise as well. Rockruff are completely unique among canine Pokemon in that they have the ability to naturally generate rocks in their body as part of their internal anatomy. The process responsible for this is tied to the habit of eating rocks for mineral acquisition, and it is believed that this was developed as a defense against predators in an effort to make the creatures incredibly hard to eat without causing serious damage to the teeth of their assailants. As such, the furry collar of hair around their neck contains a series of small rocks that are embedded in and grow within their outermost layer of skin, effectively giving them the properties of a rock-type Pokemon in terms of offensive and defensive attributes.
Aside from this though, Rockruff behave in battle much like any other canine Pokemon, and are quite easy for young trainers to bond with as a result of their naturally friendly disposition.
In the wild, these creatures are able to track down smaller prey items using their incredible sense of smell, as once they have smelled an odor, they never forget it. There are even tales of these creatures making ludicrous journeys that can last for days if they get lost or separated from their trainer, all just to be reunited with the owner that they love, no matter how faint the trace of smell might be. They are also quite brave for their small size, and will stand against any opponent in battle with all of the ferocity and gumption they can muster, continuing a fight no matter how outmatched they may be until they wear the opposition into a state of exhaustion to win. This can make them incredibly useful to have in battle, but caution is nonetheless recommended when dealing with them, as it can sometimes lead them to continue fighting even after they have sustained a critical injury of some sort. These attributes feed directly into their abilities, as they can possess Keen Eye and Vital Spirit as base abilities, as well as the Steadfast ability as a hidden ability. But it is duly noted that these creatures can, in very rare circumstances, have a unique mental attribute that allows them to keep their heads steady and out of the realm of confusion entirely, allowing some rare specimens to have own tempo as their ability instead, something that ties directly into the evolutionary capabilities of the species.
As mentioned before, Rockruff are actually quite easy to train and get along with, and many young children find them to be perfect pets, even if they might be a little bit on the rough side when it comes to their affection.
When Rockruff are near someone that they really trust and love, they will often nuzzle against that creature as a sign of affection. Unfortunately, this can cause painful scratches and other injuries as a result of the rocks that line the fur around their necks, though such injuries are never inflicted on purpose. These same rocks are often used to intimidate others, with Rockruff slamming them onto the ground to make the opposition flinch, at which point they will immediately attack. Their domestication is a process that has been going on since ancient times, and it has bred a streak of loyalty in them so strong that they will never abandon their trainers and will always do their best to cheer them up if they sense that their owner is feeling sad or depressed. However, it is noted that as these creatures grow and mature, their disposition will steadily become more violent and aggressive as the habit of biting becomes worse, and difficult enough to work with that the less dedicated trainers will often end up abandoning them as they become too much for them to handle. When they start to howl at the moon when night falls, it is a sign that they are approaching the point of evolution, and from there, the form they take on and the mannerisms that come with it will depend very much on the time of day they evolve at, thus posing a question to the owners as to what they need their companion to evolve into if they want to make the most of them. The decision should be made quickly regardless of the outcome though, as if they run away in the middle of the night or in the day, it is a sign that they are going to evolve soon and will not return to the owner until the process is complete. If Rockruff start to evolve while they are being bathed in the light of the sun, and thus in legend, the light of the legendary Pokemon Solgaleo, they will evolve into their Midday form. Specializing in using speed to confound their prey, these beasts will use their quick movements to seemingly surround their prey and keep them from escaping, backing them into a corner and giving Lycanroc the chance to use the rocks that grow in their mane, which are sharper than a knife, as well as their fangs, to deliver piercing strikes to the target's weakest points, capable of inflicting severe wounds that few wild Pokemon will be able to survive before bleeding out, thus making them easy prey to finish off.
The rocky material is quite sturdy as well, and is rarely damaged, but if a piece of it is chipped off, it is wise for trainers to collect the piece, as it is treasured as a good luck charm.
Instead of living in a pack, these creatures live solitary lives and almost never interact with each other outside of mating, each containing its own specific territory and never interfering with the lives of others in order to avoid unnecessary fights. These beasts are generally calm and cautious and incredibly loyal to their trainers, and as long as they were treated with respect as Rockruff and are continued to be treated as such, they will never betray their trainer no matter what insane actions they might be asked to take, using their sharp claws and fangs to take down the opposition and deliver punishing blows that few other canines are capable of dealing in battle.
This evolutionary state allows these creatures to make better use of the rocks their bodies naturally generate to accelerate their movement speeds in harsh sandstorms, allowing them to have Sand Rush as a base ability in place of Vital Spirit, and they gain a tremendous boost in speed as a result of evolution, possessing a higher base speed stat than their evolutionary contemporaries, while getting access to unique Accel Rock and Sucker Punch attacks, the latter immediately after evolving.
As far as the stats are concerned, these creatures do not have the best of combat attributes on their own, with most of their base stats being below average for a fully evolved Rock-type Pokemon, but they can still make do with their capabilities and hit hard and fast in close quarters, having above average base attack and speed stats for a fully evolved Rock-type Pokemon, and can thus make a direct impact in battle, even if they might not always be able to take much of a hit. However, if these creatures instead start to evolve when they are being bathed in the light of the moon, and thus in legend, the light of the legendary Pokemon Lunala, they will evolve into the Midnight form. Instead of going on the offensive immediately in a fight, these creatures instead bide their time and wait for their opponent to make a move. As soon as they attack, instead of trying to dodge the blow, these beasts will instead take the full brunt of the attack and, with the enemy unguarded, will retaliate by smashing the stone-lined crest of fur that swings up and over their head as a battering ram, headbutting the opposition with a force great enough to shatter large boulders and crush the target's skull and kill them instantly. These solitary creatures tend to be reckless by nature and don't care how much they get hurt in battle so long as they can win the fight, and the stronger and more intimidating the opponent might be, the more their blood figuratively boils, and therefore the more excited and rambunctious they become. They are so thrilled by battle, in fact, that their eyes seem to glow from a streak of pure instinctual lust, and they are rarely ever satiated with a fight until they have battered the opposition so badly that they can no longer fight in the slightest.
All of these traits help to explain in part why many associate these beasts with werewolves, and it is possible that they may have had a hand in shaping modern interpretations of these mythical beasts.
While these creatures can be just as loyal as the Midday form is to their trainer if treated with respect and dignity, if they find themselves butting heads with their trainer and do not agree with the commands being given to them in a fight, or are forced into a fight they want no part of, they will feel growing contempt for that trainer and will become quite disobedient, which is a shame, as only those that they truly trust are capable of bringing out their full power in battle. This evolutionary state grants these creatures a large boost in stamina, possessing slightly higher base HP, defense, and special defense stats than their counterparts, learning the counter-attack immediately after evolving, while those with extremely reckless natures can also have access to No Guard as a hidden ability. Looking at their stats, it can be seen that these creatures, despite having a different arrangement of base stats compared to the other known variations of Lycanroc, nonetheless follow the same general specialties, having above average base attack and speed stats for a fully evolved Rock-type Pokemon, though the higher base HP and defensive stats can help them last a little longer in battle than their contemporaries.
Although most trainers are aware of the Midday and Midnight forms, there is actually a third Lycanroc form that bears a great deal of similarity with their Midday form, but requires extremely special circumstances in order to obtain.
In the vast majority of cases, Rockruff will evolve based on the amount of daylight that is present in the sky, and this is usually a black and white treatment with nothing in between them. However, Rockruff that have a unique active gene in their bodies that grants them access to their own tempo ability can blur the line between the two standard forms and evolve at the hours of dusk between 7 and 8 o'clock PM. This special form is referred to as Dusk Form, and it carries some unique attributes that the other forms do not possess. First of all, their stats are slightly different than that of Midday Form, experiencing a slight increase in their base attack stat while having their base speed stats slightly decreased by the same amount, acting as a slight balance between the other two forms. Secondly, compared to the other forms, Dusk Form only has one ability, Tough Claws, but this helps out tremendously as it not only gets access to the Accelerock and Sucker Punch attacks like Midday Form, but also when it evolves, it further gains access to a Crush Claw attack, allowing it to make the most of its decently high physical attack strength. Thirdly and lastly, in terms of overall behavior, this form is fairly docile and calm, but this only serves to hide the intense fighting spirit that lies inside of them and that is unleashed as soon as battle begins, which makes this form very temperamental and hard to raise and is a vital part of what makes them a serious contender that most opponents would dare not to underestimate, especially if they're able to utilize the species signature Z move, the devastating Splintered Storm Charge attack, which acts as a strengthened variation of Stone Edge that can remove all abnormal terrain present in a battle. Just as with their contemporaries, these beasts show above average base attack and speed stats for a fully evolved rock-type Pokemon and are not that different from Midday Lycanroc, but their special ability and powerful attacks can still make them a far fiercer contender to deal with in practice.
These solitary hounds can be quite the fighters if really given the chance, and while they might be a bit on the frail side, that does little to take away from how much of an impact they can really make. As a puppy, they can be fun and loyal pets to have around, and as adults, they can prove to be physical powerhouses that can make good use of their speed and rock-type attributes to throw more than a few stones at someone to keep them down. Normally, I would recommend them to just about anyone, but you need to be careful which variant you go for on that note. Midday Lycanroc can be easy to take care of, and does glisten quite well, even if they can be a bit aggressive. But I prefer to stay far away from the Midnight variant. The extra bulk they show is nice and all, but they can be a danger to trainers that aren't good at making the most of them, and while the likely disobedience can be understood, it rarely works out well for either side, and I'd rather not risk the chances of it turning on me just because it doesn't like my ideas in and out of battle.
Though they certainly might not come off as serious beasts to worry about at a young age, the members of the Rockruff family are still potent canines that can more than leave a mark on those that get in the way of their sharp claws and teeth. You might have to be very careful about the time of day they evolve at if you want a specific form of Lycanroc, but this patience can often pay off when these wolves hit the stage, ready to go.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you're ready to train these beasts before you get into it. You might not have a hard time with them before evolution, but once they become an adult, it'll take more than a little work to keep them on a leash and ensure they keep their sights on their opponents, and not attack or disobey their owner because they weren't given the love and care they deserve.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.